So 3 days ago, Hurricane Helene passed by here and made landfall in the Florida Panhandle. I live in Pinellas County, but we got a lot of bad weather from this. So my college classes were canceled until tomorrow, Monday, and I decided to just stick it out here at my apartment in downtown St. Petersburg since I'm across the street from an evacuation zone, but in a different one that was not evacuated.
So the afternoon before, I was running low on some groceries, so I decided to make a big grocery run. I usually don't make those since I just prefer to buy items as I need them. But I decided to make a big one since the hurricane was coming, and the Publix that I go to was much busier than usual. With a lot of people, there's a lot of people buying water and stuff like that. And I was mostly getting other grocery items. I just drink the water from my sink, refrigerate it. I got two water bottles. Only one of them's here right now, though. Um, I just reuse these. I refill them every so often, and I basically just stocked up on more basic grocery items. I think a few freezer items too. After I put my groceries away, I took everything off my balcony because of the high winds. So I had my chairs, carpet, the table, and a plant. The cushions for the chairs and the plant are, I have them somewhere else since they wouldn't really fit in here well. But I just kind of put these in here since this is mostly an empty room apart from my printer. So the morning the storm made landfall, I only went outside briefly in the morning just after, actually I don't remember exactly what time, but it was pretty windy at that time. There's still a few people out on the sidewalk since the weather hadn't really gotten that bad yet, but I haven't really ever seen it this windy here before. And the business I went to was closed up. Probably should have checked that beforehand. A little dumb of me, but that was the only going outside I really did that day because of the weather coming in. I locked my balcony door, not like I'd open it in this weather, just as a precaution. And I I went downstairs later to check my mail. The time I know it shows up, but nothing came. I guess it's not really surprising either, since there's a hurricane coming in and our mail comes by bicycle delivery. But I just checked anyways, and I just kind of rode out the storm in my apartment.
This was the weather radar on the afternoon of the hurricane coming in. As you can see, it was basically right off the coast at this time, and this is when the rain was starting to really ramp up in intensity. It really got really stormy outside because of all the cloud cover.
It got darker much more sooner than it usually does because of the heavy cover coming in, and it was basically raining for almost all of the day, starting from late in the morning into the night. It wasn't raining continuously, it was raining in sort of belts, which is pretty consistent with the hurricane structure. And the weather here, it was much worse than it usually gets because it's a hurricane, of course, but we're also on the eastern side of the hurricane, and that's where the weather is much more intense, especially in the northeast quadrant. That's where it gets real nasty, and that was the side we were getting first, of course. So it ended up getting, it was just basically entirely dark gray from all the cloud cover rain coming in. Um, the power in the afternoon and at night, the lights did flicker a few times, and my TV got shut off. I had to pull my YouTube back up. But apart from that, nothing really happened. I had my computer plugged in on my charger in my dining room where I usually make videos, and nothing happened to that. Luckily, I mean, it's just a charging cord, so I really doubt it could have done anything. But we ended up, everything was fine. I was all stocked up on food, so I was good. Just kind of hunkered down while the storm came through.
This is the radar again just after 10, very shortly before it made landfall near Perry. And as you can see, it's all the way north, but it was dark out because it was already 10, and we were still getting a lot of rain late into the night. And It was cleared out by the morning, but we could still see it when I was making the screenshot.
And the next day, when I went outside, there was a lot of dirt and grass everywhere on like the walkways outside of my apartment building. I should also mention that the night of when the storm was coming in, the streets were actually empty, which is pretty surprising. Even if there's not cars driving around, there's usually a few cars parked in like the side spots here in downtown St. Pete. There is nothing. It was empty because the hurricane was coming in. So I'm imagining everyone, if they had any plans, they probably canceled or rescheduled because hurricane coming in, even though it's pretty far off the coast, we are on the bad side of it, and it's generally just not going to be favorable ever to do anything.
So, going back to the day after the hurricane, things pretty much went back to normal here in downtown St. Petersburg, apart from a lot of debris everywhere, mostly small objects from like palm trees and stuff like that. But we were lucky since we're on the side of Pinellas County that faces Tampa Bay. We didn't get as much weather as the uh, western side of Tampa Bay, which is on the Gulf of Mexico. Now there was a lot of stuff going on. South Pasadena was seriously flooded, and I saw a video on the news where the rescue crews were trying to get to the flooded houses, but one was also on fire, so they had to put out the fire while trying to get to the houses, which I can only imagine that must have been insanely difficult to try and do. And I saw that there was a lot of other issues going on, like some of the barrier islands, the people who evacuated off of them, as well as the businesses that are located on that island. They got closed off for a few days because they weren't sure if it was safe to go back onto the islands yet, since they had taken all that damage from the hurricane, which actually escalated from a category 2 to a category 4 while it was off the coast. So things have basically normal here again in St. Pete. Mail delivery has resumed. My classes are still canceled because it's the weekend, but I do have to go back tomorrow. And I saw a lot of people on the news, especially in the much more low lying areas along the coast north of Tampa Bay, in what's called the Nature Coast. And a lot of the coastal areas are flooded because they're very low lying and swampy. Also, some inland areas too, because those can be pretty low. And seen a lot of flooding going on. And I just want to say best wishes to anyone who's struggling with that right now, because that can be very difficult to deal with. I even saw a video. This guy was walking around on Cedar Key while this was happening, and it was like up to his chest. Cedar Key's been hit really hard by past hurricanes. So, best of wishes to Cedar Key. I hope everything is improving up there despite the hard circumstances at the moment. And that's basically it for right now. Like I said, best of wishes to anyone struggling with the ongoing recovery from the hurricane. And that's basically all I have to say for right now. Before I go, make sure to like this video, and thanks for watching.